Alright guys, so
The 3 people that watch the channel know what the exact
my dad's here obviously. And we put number 6 piston in to check for clearances because we were told to check the clearance from the rod bolt to the block and the cam to the rod. Cam to the rod is hopefully good, but the ARP big ass half-inch heads, they don't hit, but there's supposed to be 50 thousandths clearance and there's maybe 10 thousandths, if that. Like, you can't even see light through it. I don't know if my camera will show you if I can get a good angle or not, but this bottom bolt here on the block, like, you can't see any light through it. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't hit, but it's so close it's scary. So we now get to take it all back apart, take the piston out, take the crank out, the bearings out, and get a Dremel and clearance it. So that way we don't have to worry about it hitting ever if the crank flexes or anything expands, and rather be safe than sorry.
They saw that torque only once.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Obviously, but
So back to square one. And now I'm gonna check the cam to rod clearance with feeler gauge, just to be safe. But it looks like it's okay.
supposed to have a minimum of 50,000.
Minimum of 50 thousandths clearance as well. So we'll see.
Hi.
Okay, so my dad had to go to the parts store. We got the crank and everything torn out of it once again, and then I took a paint pen and marked where they need to be. There's a mark there and there, and then on this side as well where they need to be cut down. So I'm going to take a porting bit and start taking it away. Don't want to take too much away. And I gotta be careful because right at the end, the cylinder, I mean, not that the piston goes down that far, but so I pretty much need to just stay up here towards the top of it where the yellow paint is. So I have this cutting bit on my drill. That's all it takes. It's done digging. But there's that one, nice and smooth. And then that one, and that one. And then you can see, I don't know if it'll show, but this little yellow part has, where is it? A little bump in it, and that's all I'm doing is taking out that little knob, that little bump piece. Yeah. Alright, so we're all finished with the clearance here at Hiddle's Garage / Hiddle's Machine, I guess, because apparently we have to do a bunch of machine work to this thing. I'm going to show you what we got done. So I had it all painted yellow. It's all nice and smooth and blended in here, and there's no more little lump. There was a little hump there, and that's what the rod bolt was getting close to. It wasn't touching, but it was too close for comfort, so we decided to just go ahead and take it out. So it's all gone, all nice and smooth, nice and pretty in there. And it's the same on the other side. Right here. Right there. And in the Eagle manual for putting them in for like with the torque specs and clearances, it says minimum of 50 thousandths clearance between the rod and the block. And there was not even like 10 thou clearance. It was crazy. So now we should have plenty of clearance. We'll put a rod back in after we clean it all out, spray it out, blow it out, get all the shavings out of it, and we'll put the crank back in and put a rod and piston back in and roll it over to see if it has enough clearance now. 10 times fucking later.
Just kind of pull that side up, roll it up if you can, and just shove it through the other cylinder. Shove it through the cylinder. Oh, you shouldn't throw them on the ground though. Okay.
They already have metal shavings in them now anyway.
Yeah, but you're gonna pick up rocks with them. Metal shavings we can shake out and clean out, you know. So hopefully, all we'll have to use it for is rags wiping our hands.
Alright, so you want to spray it before we take the cam out, or take the cam out and then spray it?
Damn, looks pretty clean.
Throw the hose. So we got the oiling rings, which we'll put on first. I'll show you one piston and then we'll do the rest because we don't want to bore you with all that fun stuff. We'll get all the rings on them first and then start putting them in the holes. And then I'll show you what the oiling ring looks like. I'm sure you guys already know, but just in case. And they've all been pre-filed by the machinist. So, but this is the oiling ring. And then one of these sits there, and the other sits there. And then obviously the gap in them, you want to misalign the gap in all three. So there's a little gap in the middle oiling ring. Locking them all together here. Right there. And so you want to misalign that with these as well. You don't want them all line up because then oil can go by them and then they'll start burning oil. And then on the top ring and the middle ring, there's dimples in the ring to show you what side goes up because there is a difference. They are tapered. These don't matter up or down because they're the same. The oiling ring shouldn't matter because you don't got the oiling ring. Just got the top, got the top in the middle. I fucked up already. So, and then I'm going to show you this mistake that I just made. But you want to put the little ribbly out, wavy ring in first because there's little steps on the back, so these smaller, thin ones hold it in. Now it fits in. And then we have piston ring pliers as well for the next rings. These ones you don't really need them because they're quite forgiving.
I'll set them opposite.
There's the break in the wavy ring. Okay. Golden. So, get a little closer here. The oiling rings on that one are in. And these are the ones you got to pay attention to. The top and the middle ring. Because I'm just going to show them this first. So this is the top ring. This is the second. And normally a lot of the times the boxes are labeled top ring and middle ring. Oiling ring, like I said, is not as important. But in this case they labeled their paperwork here that the rings are, it says second ring groove or second groove. and this one says first groove around it. Almost looks like a hamburger wrapper, if you ask me. And then, so these are the two you want to use the piston ring pliers on. So we'll do the second groove first. And then these are all marked. Our machinist, like I said, filed them. I don't know if you can see, but there's little red dots. And so I'll find what piston number I have, which I believe is number two. So I'm going to find the ring with number two, two dots on it. And I'll show you what I mean by that dimple. So I don't know if the camera will focus enough. There's a tiny little dimple right there, and you want that dimple to the top of the piston. And like this, you spread it. When second ring is in. And now the top ring. And then the second ring is a cast ring. These, yeah, I think they're even in aftermarket rings, they're still cast. And these are most likely a Molly ring. I don't know what he got for us. But this one as well has the two dots on it that are painted on it, and then it has the dimple in it, so you put it facing up towards the top of the piston. And like that, rings around that piston. More stickers, horsepower. So all the rings are on that piston. We're gonna continue on to do the rest and not bore you with all this crap. Okay, so we got all the rings on the even side pistons. So now we take our piston and ring compressor. I don't really like this kind. They work, but they suck. They make newer kind that are like billet, cut out. I don't know if they're billet, but they're machined. They're like a solid piece, and they're machined perfect and tapered, so you just pop your piston down. I think BTR, Brian Tooley makes them for the LS series engine, and I found a couple other brands out there that make them. We've always used these. Eventually, like when I put the 5.3 together, I'll probably get one of the tapered ones, just to make it easier on us. But so you guys that don't know, on Small Block Chevrolet, the cylinders are staggered, obviously. Like one's a little bit further forward side. So the driver's side is a little bit further forward than the passenger side, and the driver's side's front cylinder is number one. So all your odd numbers, your odd side is your driver's side, and your even side is your passenger side. And we have all the even side pistons here, so we're going to put all the even side in first. And then, I mean, normally we'll go back and forth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But we have all these done, and we have limited bench space, so we're just going to put the one side in first, roll it over, and vice versa. We'll take oil, we'll oil the cylinder wall, we'll oil the piston really well, and take a dead blow, rubber side, and squeeze the clamp, put it in, squeeze it down so it smashes the rings down, put it in there, in the cylinder well, and beat it down. And then the little groove for the bearings on the rods always go facing the ground. So there's a little machine groove in there, and that's where the bearings clip in, but those always go facing the ground. So
explain to them that some pistons have a mark on them.
So that way, if your pistons, like these don't have it, but a lot of pistons are marked forward. And so, like, I think the LS, the LS pistons and the 5.3 over there, they have a little dimple in them, and that tells you that goes towards the forward side of the engine. So you can't really mess it up. But these don't, so you just know by putting the little ring groove, or the bearing groove, keyway down towards the ground.
There you go, number 2 is ready.
So we got number 2 piston here, ready to go in. So we're going to take some oil, wherever I put it. Can't be far. It's right here. So he's already got the bearings in, the cap and the rod. So you want to do this clean. We already wiped down the cylinders. We washed our hands before we started putting these together. You saw me wipe my hand on my shirts because I had a little bit of fuzz on it. But you oil the cylinder well nicely like that. You get covered in oil. It's part of the job. And then I'm just going to do this. Pour it right over there. The drips is just going to drip on the next piston to go in. A lot of times you can, like, when I put my old 327 together, I took these and I took a bucket of oil and I soaked them in oil overnight. You don't have to, but that's what I did. But get a nice amount of oil on there, rub it around it. Don't want anything going in dry. Then you want to make sure before you put it in, because I just wiped that around, my rings are close to each other now. The gaps in the rings, so I'm going to turn one facing up and one facing down towards me. And then it's ready to go in. Double check, make sure I have number 2. Trim the crank. Let's just rotate it up then.
When you get that in there, when you start to set that down, tap this thing down around
Yeah, I know.
on the block.
I just want to get down. There we go. Wasn't quite on all the oil in. Double? Double? Then you take it, the double. That. Okay, so I didn't put it in video because I forgot to. I'm on my way taking my daughter home to her mom's. She's back there. But anyways, we checked the rest of the rods. and not all of them cleared. So we have to take it all back apart and do it again. Not very fun, but that's the price you pay when you're building something. I mean, those half-inch heads on those bolts. I mean, you gotta expect to have to clear some stuff. So we'll do that. We'll clear some more. It wasn't much, but I'm gonna make sure to take out enough this time because I don't want to have to pull the crank out and do this again. So on that note, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I think everybody that watches, thank you for watching. Tell your friends, your family. Oh, there she is. Now she has my attention. So until next time, peace out.